What is up, Jabronis? JJ back here from Run Pure Bets, talking a little MLB Saturday, May, fuck's today's date, 28th. So nice to grab another win on the solo plays yesterday to grab 7 in a row on those as well. Rangers, nice little comeback yesterday, right? Nice little sweat comeback. Things you love to see. So that was good. And then yesterday I also bet, I don't even remember. I also bet the Jays, that was kind of a comeback win as well. So it was just overall a nice Run Pure night on that end. But look, today's a new day. Relatively humid, at least here. Warm, muggy, kind of warm, I guess. But there are spots today and tonight that are warmer than usual. For me, you're going to see with some of these games, the weather factor is going to be in the mix, but it's just going to be the same old, run down the games, and I'll give you guys some of the bets I fired on. So without further ado, there's a few games obviously already going on. And by the way, who's hotter than the Red Sox right now with their sticks? And the crazy part is there's still 3 games under 500. Tough scene, all things considered, because it seems like everybody on that team is hitting right now. So I just wanted to say that. Rockies Nats also a game going on. I mean, these games are just shootouts early. Especially the Nats game. But yeah, look, we'll slide right into the Twins Royals. So Twins about minus 150-ish, 55, 60. Total 9.5. Now, Chris Archer, Brady Singer. Singer's been good, but Singer's been, dare I say, a little lucky with some of his recent starts. He also got to face, I think, the same team back-to-back. Was it the same team back-to-back starts? No. Oh, yeah. Well, the White Sox were before that. But this dude's gone, 14 straight innings since they called him back up. No run baseball. He's been good. It is a tough ask to go right back to the well, though, and shut the Twins out again. But again, he did get himself in a few jams that he got himself out of. But this Twins lineup does have Buxton, which did not have it the last time. And again, this Twins team's getting a little healthier. This lineup's a different lineup than he saw. I believe he played them on Sunday, maybe Saturday. I think it was Sunday, actually, last Sunday. So this is definitely a different lineup. This is their practical opening day lineup for the Twins. So tougher ask of him here. And then, look, we know with Archer, he's a bit Jekyll and Hyde, right, to say the least. I think overall, believe it or not, I actually lean the over in this game at 9.5. I don't love it. Because I do believe 9.5 is a high number for this park. For me personally, I cap out at 10. I won't bet overs at this park that are 10 or more, just because it's truly not like a hitter's park. And I've already mentioned that on Park Dimensions and where you should start and stop in terms of betting totals. But 9.5 is near the peak for me. But yeah, if I would lean a bet on this game, it would be the over 2 average at best pens and 2 very susceptible arms. And again, Singer's been throwing well, but there's a reason why Singer was moved back to AAA. At some point those wheels are going to come off, maybe today, but he's facing a really tough lineup. And on the Archer end, Archer just seems like he's always in jams. And when he gets himself out of jams, he looks like he has a good start. And when he doesn't, he just gets, ripped apart. So yeah, leading the over 9.5, don't love it. Cardinals Brewers, Liberatore, I think that's how it's pronounced. And Hauser. So the interesting thing with this game is if you look at the lineups, kind of rough scene, huh? Now you might look at this and go, you throw a lefty at the Brewers and it's kind of warm in St. Louis. But look at these lineups. I mean, Jesus, you got you're basically hoping this game scores runs with your 1 through 4 hitters on both sides, because it gets kind of ugly below that. I mean, between, Donovan and Nootbaar and Molina at the bottom of this Cardinals lineup or near the bottom, and then Hurricane, Matthias, and Caratini at the bottom of the Brewers lineup. Just black holes at the bottom of both these lineups. So granted, the pitching matchup isn't ideal, but you're getting pretty poor lineups here. So I don't love anything about this game. I think it's tough to love anything about it. Like Hauser has been pitching good, but he's due for a little bit of regression. But again, he's facing a lineup that's a bit degraded for the Cardinals. Just too much going on for me in this game to like anything or any side. So we'll just move on to the next one. And next one is, so Rangers Athletics is going to be a best bet for me. Let me just see what the current number is here. Because it actually might have moved. And if it moved, I don't want to give you guys a bet that's got silly vig. So hold, please. Let me just check. Imagine actually having fast internet. All right. So, and just so you guys know, the bet I made was over 3.5 runs for the Rangers. Got that minus 128, which is even high for me on vig. Yeah, see, now it's 4 minus 102. I mean, it's hard to love that because they need 5 runs from the Rangers in this park. So I'm not going to make that as a best bet because again, I bet at 3.5 minus 128, which I prefer over 4 or over that. See how that comes out. I prefer versus 4 because it's for obvious reasons, right? This is a pitcher's park. It's a lot of runs. It's not exactly super warm. It's kind of warm though, but it's not super warm at all in Oakland. And I think it's a big ask for the Rangers. However, the Rangers are getting hits, but they also sat, which I didn't expect them to do. They sat Heim today, and Garver's dealing with a bit of an injury, I think. So this lineup's not what I was hoping it would be. But just so you guys know, I did bet this over 3.5 minus 128. I think Logue is in a bad spot here. This Rangers team is starting to hit the ball really well. And this Oakland pen got pretty taxed yesterday and still got lit up. So we're going to see some different arms after Logue goes today. You could have went full game over instead. But my issue there is like Hearn sometimes can throw pretty good, and he is a lefty, which isn't ideal. This is why I didn't want to bet Texas because I don't want to handicap the Taylor Hearn end of things here because he could throw really well in this spot. He could also get blown up against because Oakland's just not hitting. But Oakland does have righties that can definitely hit left-handers, kind of like contrary to what I said yesterday, where John Gray, a right-handed pitcher, should have been able to pitch better than he did. But needless to say, so maybe if you really wanted to have action in this game, you could go full game over 8. But again, I'm personally not looking to handicap the Taylor Hearn end of things, so I won't make that a best bet for this show. But it is a bet I did make. So I'll move on to the next one. Imagine me telling you guys it's the best bet, and then I tell you I don't want it to be a best bet. So Tigers, Guardians, Faedo, and Bieber. Credit to Bieber, right? I mean, this dude, despite him losing some velos, he still, shines a bit bright at times. I mean, his last start looked a bit ugly early on, and then he just kind of smashed, just piling up Ks towards the end of his start. That's the thing with them; they'll just let him keep throwing, over 100 pitches, over 110. They don't care. But here, so he plays the Tigers, who obviously don't have any, crazy threats in the lineup. It's like I said last week. I do think he's getting a little too much respect here again. But I'm not looking to tail the Bieber fade train. So, it's not a spot I love by any means. I do think at 160 though, it's priced a bit too high. So slight lean Tigers money line, but again, I don't love it. If this line bumped to where I can get the Tigers at like plus 145, which I won't, but if I could, then I would have bet the Tigers, and I would especially bet them first 5 plus a half run at that number. But needless to say, I'll stay away because I do like Faedo. I think he's a decent arm, and the Guardians don't exactly have crazy threats on their end either. You could bet this under, but Bieber has gotten himself into quite a lot of jams this season, and he's gotten himself out of quite a lot of jams. He has good stuff, but and then you look at these lineups, and it's just like, I mean, this Tigers lineup is rough, and then the Guardians lineup, the bottom, middle to the bottom, rough. Austin Hedges is as much of an automatic out in baseball that exists, except for like Aaron Hooks. So you know what? Let's go to the chat. See what the chat's doing. What's up, Faz? Nathan? Corey, aka Faz? Yeah. Got a rocket Ken. River Rat, what's going on? Jordan, much love. Any thoughts on Sanford? I'll talk on that one. That game's a little later, right? Is the game's a little later? Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk on that one in very, very few minutes, Jordan. What's up, Greg? Hope all is well. This guy bashes Alex Max for having no sleeves and proceeds to do so himself. First of all, Joseph, this is like a borderline epiphany. Okay, I think I've worn sleeveless shirts on these shows maybe 3 times since Origin. Okay, whereas your girl Allie Mack only wears sleeveless shirts. So do with that what you will. We're here trying, Nathan. We're here trying. JJ work. I love the banter. Yeah, much love, Cody. So, yeah, I guess we'll slide right back into the games. Fucking hat. All right, so where were we? Oh, perfect. Braves Marlins. So this will be another best bet. LOL, another. I bet this over. So I bet this over 8.5. Got this minus 105 FanDuel. I'm just making sure it's still minus 105. Fuck is this game? It's minus 110 now, but that's not a big deal. All right, so Braves Marlins over 8.5 minus 110 FanDuel. Yeah, so I know you see Alcantara on the hill, and that obviously will scare folks. Davidson actually should be starting to throw better. I almost bet Atlanta here, believe it or not. I saw them at 110 earlier today, and I'm like, when I looked in that game, I just like the over more because I am afraid of Davidson's volatility. And Alcantara, I mean, we know his home road splits, right? I mean, this dude throws much better at home than on the road. You're gonna get a warm game in Atlanta today. It's gonna be 80 degrees. I don't know. Let me just confirm the wind situation. I don't think we're gonna get killed on the wind either. Yeah, so slight wind blowing out to left, about 7 miles an hour. Again, nothing that's gonna make or break anything. But needless to say, what I do like or love about this game is look at these lineups. So the Braves have a practical opening day lineup outside of whoever the fuck Michael Harris is. And the Marlins they've always had, the last few years, always had decent righties, right? And Jorge Soler is back as well. And, I look at this lineup and Jacob Stallings, who's actually hit lefties pretty well all season. There's just a lot of live bats in this lineup, and the Braves bullpen I don't love, and I don't love the Marlins bullpen. I just think it's kind of like I tell you with the fields, with these types of fields in warm weather where you have a collectively average pitching matchup. Alcantara is great. Davidson is not. So collectively you have an average pitchers matchup. And again, the ball should carry in Atlanta today. It should be humid. It's obviously going to be warm. It looks like here they're saying game time temperature of 93. I'm not seeing that. Granted, I'm no weatherman, but I think that date is incorrect. But either way, it's going to be warm in Atlanta today, and the ball will certainly carry. And Alcantara is not nearly the same pitcher he is on the road, at home, that he is on the road. So for me, at this on all angles, and Davidson's going to get himself into trouble today against this Marlins lineup. Now, granted, will he get himself out of jams? Maybe not. But either way, I do know that if these guys get guys on base, the home balls will carry out of this park today. So I really like this number. So I think it's a really good spot. I'll be kicking myself if the Braves win today. Like 6-0 or something, because I did like the Braves in this spot. I could have bet their team total. I just hate betting home team totals over because of that, potential for only 8 at bats. But needless to say, like the spot here, over 8.5. I think the Braves are going to put a lot of foot traffic on against Alcantara in this spot. And the Marlins should be able to do some damage at least against Davidson. So yeah, love the spot. Rays Yankees, Corey Kluber, Garrett Cole. I'll tell you this, the sticky stuff, Garrett Cole, folks. I don't want to say they're eating their words, but he's looked really good. I mean, I know his ERA is like 3.3, which isn't like crazy good, but he's looked really good. I know that he gave up 5 earned in his last start. But even when you isn't it crazy? Even when you watch him have a bad start, it's was it really that bad? 8 innings, 5 earned. He's just a really good pitcher. And Corey Kluber, as you guys probably know, if you watch, me on these videos, I'm not a big Corey Kluber guy. I mean, I was when he earlier in his career, but he relies so much on location now, and his stuff's okay. He doesn't strike out nearly as enough guys. Now, the fact that he typically limits walks is big for him. But he has been a pitcher over the last few years with bad reverse splits, and the Yankees, of course, bring a lot of righties to the table. But you look at this Yankees lineup today, it's kind of blah. Stan's obviously out on the DL. And if you look at the Rays lineup, though, I mean, Margot, Kiermaier, Mejia, Phillips, Wall. I mean, that's a practical black hole in that lineup. So I can see why this total is so low. Cole should be able to pitch well in this spot, but, again, call it a bounce back spot if you will. But, the Rays can typically, be like a gnat and hang around and get guys on. And maybe they'll be able to translate that to runs. And Kluber is likely to get himself in trouble. But we know with the Yankees, right, they could typically be a little too home run prone. Matt Carpenter is an interesting pickup for them. And I think he donged yesterday. He's got that porn stash too. Not that matters, but just got to bring it up. The overall, though, I don't love anything about this game. I think the line's about right. I think the line's a little short for the Yankees, though, like slightly short. Me personally, I have this. Let me just look. I have this up past 155. So, about 8 cents or so of value, depending your book. But that's not enough for me to want to fire. Slight value on the Yanks. Don't love it. So it's going to be a stay away spot. All right, next game up. Reds Giants. So I think you, Jordan asked about this game, right? Is it Jordan? Yeah, Jordan Elmore. You like Giants first 5. So the reason I stayed away from this game entirely is I haven't been getting the Giants right. And I guess to be more specific, I haven't been getting Carlos Rodon right. I've lost a few games recently backing him. And Alex Wood is another lefty, a little more craftier, definitely doesn't throw as hard. And then Gutierrez on the other side is super vulnerable. Look, it's going to be warm in Cincinnati. It's not going to be super warm. I get why the total's this high. This is, I'll be honest though, this total, like you would think for pitchers like this, I guess it's because it's not super warm. Because if it was like 85 or 90 degrees in Cincy today, this total should be like 10.5, 11. But it is 75, so it's not super warm. And Alex Wood could throw well, hypothetically. I don't think we have a Giants lineup yet. I don't think. Like if I bet totals that are that big at these parks, like for instance, like for me, Cincinnati, I will cap myself at 10.5. I will not bet a total above 10.5 at this park. Granted, 10 is in the wheelhouse. I just worry that if Alex Wood throws well, this game might not stand a chance. But and then you look at the lineups, right? Like even the Giants lineup looks like kind of blah. The Reds lineup is but you expect that from the Reds. So you could get 10 runs here. Granted, again, it's a hitter's ballpark, 2 susceptible arms, especially Gutierrez. But I'll stay away. I think this line's completely fair. And on the first 5 note that you mentioned, look, the Reds are kind of hitting right now. And they've kind of been hitting for I want to say like over a week and a half now. Granted, they have a few, I guess what we'll call stinkers in between, but they've been really hitting well, and they're seeing the ball well as a team. And despite them not having like the big names, they are getting guys on, and they are crossing the plate. So I don't love fading them in this spot personally. But I do think the line's fair. I think the San Francisco line is what it should be. Gonna stay away. All right, so Rockies Nationals game 2. I'm not going to cover that. I'm not going to cover Red Sox Royals game 2. You guys know by now I don't really like betting game 2s of doubleheaders. I barely even like betting game 1s of doubleheaders, just because you just don't know the bullpen situation, right? Like, you don't know if a manager really wants to use, a certain group of pen guys in the second game versus the first game. And granted, it could be used on an as needed basis, sure, but I've seen weird things happen in these doubleheaders, and it goes without saying the added variance to them. And then there's the lineup piece as well. You see guys in the first game lineup, you're kind of risking, are they going to be back in the lineup for game 2? To me, it's not even worth talking about. White Sox Cubs, Johnny Cueto and Mr. Thompson, who has been incredible. Now, for Keegan, it's kind of tough to warrant the success, we've seen from him thus far. But he's been good. I mean, the sample size just keeps growing and growing and growing. Personally, I'm not a true believer just yet. Much like I'm not a true believer on Cueto either, who's throwing really well. I think that for this spot, believe it or not, I think this number is a little soft. It wasn't, when I say this number, the total, it's not to a spot where I love it, which is why I didn't bet it. But I do believe, like, if this thing pushed to like 8 plus 100 or 7.5, 120, this would be a fire spot for me to bet. It's going to be somewhat warm, I believe, in Chicago. I thought I saw 65. Let me just confirm. Yeah, so 70. So it is slightly warm there. And, the Cubs obviously don't bring to the table a great lineup, but we know the White Sox do. I think if I was going to bet this game, it would be the over at 8. But again, it's not enough value for me. I would like to see 7.5, 120. That would be an auto fire. But I will stay away. Again, it's a numbers thing. I know that you can talk and have conversations about nitpicking 5 cents here, 10 cents there. But I promise you, long term, you will avoid a lot of losses and capture more wins. But by just being, trying to be that disciplined. So we'll move on. Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Merrill Kelly and Tony Gonsolin. What is there to say about Gonsolin? I mean, Gonsolin's been great. I think he's been a pleasant surprise for the Dodgers. I mean, he was good last year, but he's been like really good this year. Dodgers up at 180. Do they deserve it? Do they warrant this line? The Dodgers, their lines are always going to be padded. This line feels a little thick. Merrill Kelly is typically very good at home. So we'll call it a slight lean from me. First 5, grab the half run with the Diamondbacks. But the issue is Gonsolin's been so good, right? And do you think Kelly's going to shut out the Dodgers through 5? Because if you think they're going to grab Dodgers going to grab 3 runs, you're going to need 3 from the Diamondbacks off Gonsolin. So that's why it's tough. It's tough. I'll be honest. I say this often. I don't bet a lot of Dodgers games. I don't fade them. I don't bet them. I just stay away from a lot of Dodgers games because, again, they win at an above average clip and you consistently pay a tax on them. So unless you're betting them every day, day after day, they're just a hard team to profit on if you're just trying to be selective when you bet them. So that's why I typically stay away from their games entirely. But again, call it a lean for me. First 5, grab the half run with Arizona. You'll be able to get that at dog money. So that's where I stand. All right. So Mets, Phillies, my boy Taijuan Walker, from the Seattle Mariners, my squad, and Zach Eflin. So I bet this first 5 over 4.5. Let me just see. I bet this at DraftKings though. I have the FanDuel book in front of me. I'm just looking at what the line is here. And of course, it's just spinning and spinning and spinning. I did get it 110. Yeah, it's 122 here. Hold on. Let me see what it is on DraftKings because I did get it at 110, but it might not be 110 anymore. That's what I'm checking. Hold, please. So, actually, based on this line, it should be 110 here at DraftKings. Let's see. It is even better, 105. Look at that. Mets. You guys are gonna get better price than I did. Mets and Phillies. First 5 over 4.5 minus 105 DK. So that'll be my other best bet from this show. And the reason I like it, so a few reasons. Zach Eflin on the road is often a dumpster fire. The guy that typically walks too many guys on the road, has issues with the home run ball on the road. Granted, he's a good arm. He throws good occasionally on the road. Not like there's always getting lit up when he starts in road games, but I think it's a tough spot for him, or it's a tough ask for him. I liked what I saw yesterday from these teams. I'm not a guy that typically, you guys should know this, but I'm not a guy that looks at one game the day before and is like, oh, we're just going to ride that into the next game, because there was a lot of hits, a lot of foot traffic yesterday in these games. And how about the Mets going up big early? Almost blowing a 7-run lead, LOL. But I look at this game, and granted, it's a pitcher's ballpark, and this is near the tip, so I will not bet a total that is 9 or above at this park. This is, as we all know, Citi Field is a pitcher's park, but we are getting a warm day or a warm evening here, where much like yesterday, I expect this ball to carry, and both pens are a disaster for these teams. I know that the Mets, on paper, have a good pen, but I mean, just watch these guys pitch. It's tough. It's a tough scene. And Phillies just seems like every year, no matter who they put in that pen, they're just always bad. They're having another tough year with their bullpen. And Eflin doesn't exactly eat innings. Taijuan Walker often doesn't eat innings either. Typically goes up in high in pitch counts early in games. Look, Walker's been good, and I'm a Walker guy. I like him. He typically pitches better at home as well. But this dude's been throwing a little too well in this stretch, and he's going to face a tough Philly lineup, right, with very few easy outs. I loved what he did at Colorado last week, but I mean, he's going to follow that up with another stud start against a tough lineup here. I have my doubts there. So I think there's going to be a decent amount of foot traffic here early. I didn't want to touch the Pens angle because I just feel like there's a better shot of this hitting earlier versus late. I know the Pens aren't great, so you can bet this full game over if you'd like. Me personally, I prefer the first 5. You could split it down the middle, bet half first 5, half full game, but I bet first 5, 4.5, 110. It's minus 105 at DraftKings, and it's also 122 at FanDuel. So again, it's all a numbers game. Don't be betting bad numbers when you have other markets available to you. So yeah, that was the another best bet. Angels, Blue Jays, Lorenzen and Yusei Kikuchi. Yeah, I'm a Kikuchi guy from his Mariners days, but tough ask for him here. The Angels' lineup's been a bit degraded. They've been dealing with some injuries. It looks like my boy Taylor Ward came back yesterday into the lineup. I would expect Ohtani to start as well. They often give him the day off after he pitches, so now there wasn't a surprise that he wasn't in the lineup yesterday. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to bet them. I didn't think he would be in the lineup, and I felt like the line wasn't indicating that he wouldn't be. And again, a guy like Ohtani is probably worth 12, 13 cents on the line, maybe 15 cents when he's pitching, obviously when he's hitting. So I felt like we were getting a little edge there anyway. And it was nice to pull that win out late. But regardless, this should be a decent pitchers matchup. My issue here, why I would lean the Angels specifically, is I don't like vulnerable lefties that don't really strike anybody out or don't have high K rates against a team like the Angels who pound you with good right-handed bats. Ward, Trout, Rendon, that is a tough ask for a guy like Kikuchi to get out consistently. The Jays pen's okay, but the Jays pen got some work yesterday as well. They've been getting some work. So I don't love the spot, but I would lean the Angels at this price. Not enough for me to fire, but I do think there's some value on the Angels, slight value. Okay, next up, Mariners, Astros. Gilbert versus your kitty, as the cool kids say. Gilbert's been great, but, regression, it seemed to hit him on, I think it was his last start. Was it his last start? His ERA was like 1 something, and he got let up a bit in one of his starts. Might have been against Boss. I don't know. I don't remember the start. Needless to say, Houston's minus 125 here. I mean, oof. This line almost feels like an overreaction to yesterday. Like yesterday, obviously the Mariners played really well. They got to Verlander, right? And the confidence, I guess, boosted on the Chris Flexen end, and he pitched pretty well. This feels like an overreaction, this line. Your kitty should be getting a little more respect here. I know Gilbert gets market respect, so that's fair, but to me, Houston should be like 135 here, not 125. So yeah, about 10 cents of value, but you guys know I don't fire on 10 cents. Yeah, slight value for me on Houston here. Because I do think they should be 135. It looks like they're 130 at DraftKings. I don't know what they are at FanDuel. I don't have that book in front of me. I only have DraftKings. But needless to say, we will move on to the next game. As far as the total goes, 7.5 to me is a fair number. So it's an easy stay with. Padres, Pirates, Musgrove, and Brubaker. Musgrove's home, right? So you're getting the most often better version of him. 250 is a fat line, but to me, it makes sense because Brubaker is very tough to watch, and the Padres, will pound him with tough bats up and down. And the Pirates don't have a whole lot of damage guys that are likely going to frustrate Musgrove. I mean, Musgrove, the thing with him is we know how volatile he could be with his control. So, theoretically speaking, he could walk a few guys and free pass a few runners in, but Musgrove has been so good, and his stuff is so filthy. Now, we know the thing with Musgrove is that, he relies on batters to be undisciplined, and he's got super good stuff. So, like, even if you approach the plate with discipline or try to, he's got very deceptive stuff. His slider, for one thing, is one of the better pitches in the game. But needless to say, to me, this line is probably where it should be at 250. You guys know I don't really mess around with lines this big. As for the total of 7, it's hard to love that either way. I think that, if you're going to bet this over, what are you implying? If you're betting this over, you're going to need the Pirates to score runs. So, unless, and if that case, just bet the Padres over their team total, but that's a home team. That's practically a minus 300 favorite that you're almost guaranteed to get 8 at bats, or you're very likely to only get 8 at bats. Overall, easy stay away spot for me. It's one of the late game hammers anyway. I will likely be sleeping by the time this game starts. LOL. All right, so that recaps it up. I gave you two best bets. Let me look at some of these comments. So formal. Settle the fuck down, Nathan. Uncle work. That's right, Joseph. Yankees just keep winning. Yankees have been incredible, absolutely incredible. And yeah, Josh, good point. I noticed that lineup when I refreshed it before. Cole is using. Look, you could be onto something, Matt. I don't introspect his starts, so you definitely could be right. I don't know though. I was on a sleep, Panda, but it was nice to get that. For sure, appreciate the input. I will stay off as Reds. It could happen. Agreed. Doubleheaders are hectic. Nice day in Chicago. That's Joey work. Ask Joey to say time walk. Some Mets, Phillies. Is that okay? So ultimately, that wraps it up. So we did the show in what, half hour? Basically a half 30 minutes exactly. LOL. All right, so the two bets I bet were, or the two best bets from the show, two overs, Braves Marlins over 8.5, FanDuel 110, and the first 5 over Mets Phillies 4.5 minus 105 DK. May the odds be ever in our favor. As for today, look, it doesn't look like there's any UFC today, which is weird, right? I don't know why that happened on Memorial Day weekend of all, where people are like looking to party and looking to probably go somewhere and like watch fights, for instance. But needless to say, gamble responsibly, stay safe. I'll be back tomorrow, likely with Joey Work and Holden. I haven't confirmed with them. Running down the slate again with some best bets from all of us. But until then, run pure, folks. Enjoy the